All done.
As patients try to protect themselves from the effects of the flu epidemic, doctors are warning about a respiratory illness called adenovirus that looks and feels a lot like the flu. Right now, the vaccine for the adenovirus is mainly available to members of the U.S. military, but some doctors are calling for the vaccine to be made available to the civilian population as well. However, Dr. Edwards is among those who do not see a need for vaccination against adenovirus.
Vaccines are required if you are headed off to war.
But a frightening number of U.S. servicemen and women are having severe reactions. KCRA3's Tom Duhane takes a look at the mystery surrounding so-called secret shots being given to U.S. servicemen and women.
It's difficult right now.
At a time when young men and women are dying on the battlefield.
We live in a very volatile time in the military.
Some believe there's an enemy here at home.
And no one wants to look bad.
It's not a shot from a gun.
This is the worst cover-up in the history of the military.
But a shot from a syringe that may be leaving some U.S. servicemen and women on the brink of death.
When the issue, I believe, of the use of the vaccine comes out, I believe it'll make the Walter Reed scandal pale in comparison.
But a single shot in the arm forever changed his life. On November 28th of 2005, Faye's unit lined up for what he says was an undisclosed shot.
They asked us our name. We stood on these yellow footprints, and they gave us a shot. Then we got the rest of the day off. After that shot, I started swelling up. I gained 30 pounds of water. My eyes swelled up where I couldn't see. I started snoring. I developed a rash on my hand.
3 weeks later, Private Faye was on his deathbed, his kidneys failing, his body so swollen it left stretch marks.
I used to just pray to God, please, take him tonight.
As her son appeared to be dying, Cindy Faye began poring over his military medical records in search of answers.
The shot was never listed in his records.
The Defense Department says all service member vaccinations are documented in the individual's permanent medical record. But Faye's medical records reveal no shot on that day.
My son is a Marine, a PFC David Faye.
In a desperate attempt to save her dying son, Sydney said she called the U.S. Marine base at 29 Palms in San Bernardino County to find out what kind of vaccine her son was given.
She says, ma'am, that's confidential. I can't tell you what the shot was. And I'm like, well, my son's in ICU and he might not make it right now. I said, I really need to know. And she says, well, we can't tell you.
11 months later, Faye's medical records were mysteriously changed with a handwritten notation indicating the mystery shot was a flu vaccine.
We have a lovely term for that. We call it CYA. That's unfortunately an SOP in the military.
David is one of a growing number of U.S. servicemen and women getting sick after receiving vaccines. This highly praised Department of Defense medical officer is mortified. He doesn't want to be identified for fear of retribution.
I see the way propaganda and information war is waged against America's sons and daughters, and how patients are treated who claim to be ill from a vaccine. That's troubling. That should trouble America.
The Department of Defense maintains that the vaccines are safe and effective.
Mary Kate. Gary Placencia says his wife Michelle began feeling ill Sunday. Her symptoms worsened, so on Tuesday night, she went to the emergency room. By Wednesday morning, she was gone. A friend, a daughter, a wife, and a mother of 5.
Just kind-hearted and stuff. I think the world's going to miss her.
Gone too soon.
She was in perfect health. There's no indication that anything was wrong.
Public health confirmed Friday 39-year-old Michelle Maroney Placencia died Wednesday morning after complications with the flu.
It is a tragedy. It is a reminder how devastating and serious this disease can be, or this illness can be.
According to Maroney Placencia's partner of 14 years, Gary Placencia, his wife started feeling sick last Sunday. Woke up feeling worse Wednesday morning.
She woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, complaining of shortness of breath, just aches and pains, and wanted me to get her in the bathtub, so I got her in the bathtub. She couldn't stay in the bathtub that long. I went to the living room, to the couch, back and forth. She was just really restless. And finally got her to go to sleep. I checked up on her about 4 o'clock in the morning. She was asleep. Then she woke me up about 7 o'clock in the morning, told me to get her and help her get in the shower. So I helped her get in the shower, and she kept on telling me she was sick, she was going to die, and she felt bad.
Her husband called 911 and she went to the hospital, but died Wednesday morning.
The doctor came in and said her heart rate was just pretty much next to nothing, that she was dying and she wasn't going to make it. And I demanded I went to go to see her. I didn't want her to die by herself.
Today, the family asking the community to listen.
If you got it, stay home with it. Listen to what the doctors and the CDC people are telling you. If you don't, you're going to wind up with us. I lost my daughter. I don't want anyone else. To have to go through this. Parents, don't bury your kids.
As the family grieves through the unexpected loss, they remember their loved one gone too soon.
She was an avid giver to the homeless. She was a couponer too, and she made all kinds of kits to give to the homeless.
A family of 7, now a family of 6.
So if you have the flu, just stay home. It's not worth it to get other people sick.
If the vaccine is so effective and young children are so susceptible, why don't we vaccinate children too?
The military was fortunate in being able to have a vaccine program based on only 2 of the many different adenovirus serotypes. The cost effectiveness of the military vaccines has been studied and evaluated on several occasions. The current adenovirus vaccines were tested only in the military and were approved by the FDA for use in that population only. A vaccine program for civilian pediatric use would depend upon scientists being able to develop a vaccine or vaccines that covered enough important disease-causing adenovirus types in that population. It would also depend on recognition of a market large enough for vaccine manufacturers to become interested in producing such a vaccine. Finally, testing and evaluation of the vaccine in the intended population to the satisfaction of the FDA would be required.
Well, thanks to both of you, Dr. Potter and Dr. Gatos. I've been talking with Drs. Robert Potter and Joel Gatos about their paper, Adenovirus-Associated Deaths in U.S. Military During Post-Vaccination Period.